There exists within you a force that modern society has taught you to fear, repress or squander, an energy that throbs deep within your being. It is not merely physical desire. It is something far deeper, a primal force that Jung identified as the very essence of our creative and spiritual capacity, sexual energy. But this is what most people don't know. This energy doesn't simply have to be released or repressed. It can be transmuted. Jung didn't conceive of sexuality as Freud did. It wasn't simply a biological drive seeking satisfaction. For Jung, sexual energy was libido in the broadest sense, a creative life force that permeates the entire human psyche. When this energy is redirected, instead of being wasted, it refines consciousness, nurturing intuition, creativity, and the power to shape one's inner reality. What was once pure instinct becomes awakening. This is the hidden path proposed by Jung, the alchemy of the psyche, where desire is transformed into consciousness, a process that transforms the chaos of passion into order and self-knowledge. The deeper you delve into this transformation, the more you realize. The energy you feared was never your enemy. It has always been the key to awakening your higher self. Today we will explore a concept that few truly understand. How can you channel this primal energy to awaken a higher consciousness, transform instinct into purpose, and access untapped dimensions of your psyche? If this topic interests you, subscribe to the channel and like the video. This knowledge is for those who are ready for this journey of inner transformation. To understand Jung's concept of sexual energy, we must first deconstruct our certainties. Society essentially offers us two visions of sexuality: moral repression or immediate gratification. Jung rejected both extremes. He observed that ancient cultures, from Chinese Taoists to medieval alchemists, from Tantrists to Christian mystics, all recognized a fundamental principle. Sexual energy was not limited to reproduction or pleasure. It was a driving force of transformation. Alchemists did not seek to transmute lead into gold. It was a metaphor. Lead represented the lower consciousness, primal instincts. Gold enlightened consciousness, the realized self. And the fire that fueled this transmutation was sublimated sexual energy. Jung called this process individuation, the path to full self-realization. And sexual energy, properly understood, is the most powerful fuel on this journey. But it is essential to clarify a fundamental point. Sublimation is not repression. Repression consists of burying energy in the unconscious, where it transforms into shadow, pathology, neurosis. Repression breeds inner monsters. Sublimation, on the other hand, consists of directing this energy toward nobler ends. It's a psychological alchemy. The difference lies in consciousness. Jung understood that libido, this vital force generally associated with sex alone, was in reality a universal psychic energy. Meditate on this. When we feel a strong attraction, when we are in love, when we create something, when we are totally absorbed in a project, it is the same fundamental energy that is channeled differently. Sexuality is simply the most obvious and visible manifestation of this primal creative force. This is where Jung's revolutionary intuition lies. This energy can be transformed without being destroyed. In the archetypes of the collective unconscious, we find countless representations of this truth: the hero who must tame the dragon, the young girl who awakens higher consciousness, the sacred fire that purifies without destroying. All these elements symbolize transmuted sexual energy. But understanding the nature of this energy is not enough. We must understand how it manifests at different stages of psychological development. Jung observed that sexual energy does not operate on a single level. It has layers of expression that correspond to the level of consciousness at which we approach it. Identifying one's current level is the first step in the transmutation process. The first level is instinctive. It is the realm of primary impulses, necessary and natural, but insufficient for complete development. Here, energy is entirely identified with the body, with urgency, with immediate release. There is no awareness, only compulsion. Modern society often keeps us prisoners at this level, either through constant indulgence or through repression that breeds obsession. The second level is emotional and relational. Here, sexual energy intertwines with affection, human connection, and the archetypes of the anima and animus, the feminine and masculine counterparts within the psyche. It is then that sexuality becomes personal, when we seek not only liberation, but also union. This is the beginning of transformation, but it is not yet the highest level. The third level is the creative spiritual level. At this stage, sexual energy is recognized as a universal creative force. It animates not only artistic or intellectual creation, but also self-creation, the process of individuation. This is where mystics speak of sacred marriage, where alchemists describe the union of opposites, and where Jung locates true psychological fulfillment. How can we channel this energy? First and foremost, it's important to understand that this isn't about denial. We're not asking you to become celibate or to suppress your natural desires. We're talking about awareness and intentional orientation here. When you feel sexual energy emerging, and it will emerge, since you're alive, you have the choice to act on it immediately or suppress it completely. First step, conscious recognition. Observe this energy without judgment. Feel it in your body. Recognize it for what it is, the creative life force. Jung insisted on the necessity of making the unconscious conscious. The first step in transmutation is always awareness. When you are conscious of the energy, it no longer controls you. You control it. Second step, active containment. The alchemists called it vas hermeticum, the sealed vessel. Energy isn't released immediately, but neither is it repressed into the unconscious. It's held in conscious awareness, contained. This creates psychological tension, a feeling of unease. This tension is necessary. It's the heat that transforms lead into gold. Most people flee this unease, but it's precisely at this moment that the transformation takes place. Third step, creative reorientation. With your energy consciously channeled, you now direct it towards artistic creation, spiritual development, deep meditation, meaningful work, and full and complete presence in your relationships. This energy, which would otherwise dissipate temporarily, becomes the driving force behind lasting transformation. These three steps may seem technical, even mechanical, but deeper mechanisms are at work in this process. Jung discovered that when we consciously work with sexual energy, we are not only manipulating an abstract life force, but we are also activating and connecting to the fundamental archetypal structures of the psyche. These ancestral structures, inscribed in the collective unconscious, are both the map and the destination of transformation. Understanding them is essential for navigating this path with wisdom. Jung identified that the most powerful archetypes of the psyche are intimately linked to transmuted sexual energy. Within every man resides the psychological feminine, the anima, and within every woman the psychological masculine, the animus. Unchanneled sexual energy projects these archetypes into the world. You seek in others what you haven't integrated within yourself. But when you consciously channel this energy, you begin to integrate your anima, your inner spirit. You then achieve psychological wholeness. The result? You no longer desperately need others to feel complete. Finally, we can love by drawing from fullness, not from lack. Another archetype is the self, which, according to Jung, was the central archetype, the totality of the psyche, conscious and unconscious, integrated. Transmuted sexual energy was the primary fuel for reaching the self. Why? Because sexual energy channels attention to opposites, masculine and feminine, spirit and matter, conscious and unconscious. By consciously working with this energy, we work with opposites that must unify for individuation to occur. However, it would be irresponsible to approach this process without mentioning the risks, particularly the excessive development of the ego. When we begin to consciously work with the deep energies of the psyche, the ego can identify with the emerging power. You might begin to see yourself as special, enlightened, superior to those who simply follow their instincts. This happens when the ego takes control of the process. It's a subtle but dangerous trap. True transformation breeds humility, not arrogance. Another danger on this path is repression disguised as sublimation. Some confuse sublimation with spiritualized repression. They deny their bodies, they deny their desires, but they call it a spiritual path. Jung was clear: repression creates the shadow, and the shadow always returns, usually in a destructive way. True sublimation honors instinct, even while transforming it. Another risk is disconnection from the body. The goal is not to flee the body nor to transcend it in the sense of abandoning it. Jung was not a dualist. He considered the body and mind as two aspects of the same reality. Channeling sexual energy does not imply disembodiment, but rather a fuller and more conscious embodiment. Theory without practice is merely empty philosophy. It is necessary to integrate these concepts into daily life, into everyday decisions, in those moments when energy truly resonates. Let's now look at some practical applications that will be useful to you at these stages of development. Creativity. Artists, writers, and musicians often find that periods of sexual abstinence coincide with periods of high creative productivity. Not that sex is bad in itself, but because energy isn't constantly being expended. It accumulates and seeks other ways to express itself. You can experiment instead of seeking immediate gratification each time the energy manifests. Consciously welcome it and direct it toward your creative work. Observe what happens. Meditation and spiritual practice. Eastern meditative traditions have always known that sexual energy, when directed upward through the spine, symbolically awakens expanded states of consciousness. By meditating with this consciously contained energy, your practice deepens, your mind becomes clearer, and revelations arise spontaneously. Personal development. The energy you channel becomes available for every aspect of your growth. Professional development, studies, self-knowledge, and integrating your shadow self. You are literally fueling the process of your personal transformation. Jung considered individuation, becoming fully oneself, as the primary goal of the second half of life, and transmuted sexual energy was an essential component of it. Why? Because individuation requires energy, strength to confront one's shadow, courage to integrate one's inner contradictions, and the determination to detach from the ego in order to open oneself to one's true self. Where does this energy come from? From the same primordial source that animates all life, sexual energy. Now consciously channeled, you are no longer guided by your instincts. You live consciously, using the energy of instincts as fuel for your evolution. This is what distinguishes the merely functional human being from the human being on the path to individuation. It's not about the absence of instinct, but about its transformation into consciousness. Sexual energy is not your enemy. It never has been. It is the very life force that flows within you, seeking to express itself, to create, to transcend. The question has never been whether you possess this energy. You possess it because you are alive. The question is, what will you do? Will you continue to oscillate between repression and indulgence, between denial and compulsion, or will you learn the art of transmutation, this psychological alchemy that Jung explored throughout his life? This path is fraught with obstacles. It demands constant attention. It requires accepting the discomfort that psychological introspection can entail. This requires choosing mindfulness in every moment rather than automatic responses. But it is the path to the extraordinary, a life lived with conscious purpose, channeled energy, and the strength of instinct placed at the service of a higher consciousness. Jung believed that individuation, becoming fully oneself, was not only possible, but also the deepest vocation of the human soul. The energy you once thought was solely physical, biological or sexual, is the sacred fuel for this journey. Do not squander this gift, do not repress it out of fear, and do not dissipate it unconsciously. Learn the art of transmutation. Channel this primal force to awaken the higher consciousness that lies dormant within you. The path of transformation does not begin with self-denial, but with a profound understanding of the limitless potential residing within our most fundamental life energy. It is not about slaying the dragon, but about taming it, understanding it, and making it an ally. This is Jungian alchemy. This is the path of individuation, and the choice, as always, is yours. If this message resonated with you, please like this video. Subscribe to continue exploring Jungian psychology and the art of inner transmutation. In the comments, write like a mantra, "I channel my energy toward consciousness." This phrase symbolizes the beginning of your own path of transformation. See you soon.